So we're supposed to be going live, and I don't know how this is going to work out. It's been a while. Ooh, we got a new chair. I haven't been here for almost 9 weeks, almost 10 weeks. So just remembering how certain things work sometimes. Ooh. So I'm gonna see if I can get started. And once I get started, I'll come back to y'all. It's not like I should know how this works. Thanksgiving, eclectic lady, so book of love. I don't even know what I should start with, but we're gonna find out. First, we'll start with starting the show. How about that? Here we go. Or maybe we'll do that. We'll do that. Oh. Gotta wait for it to start up again. Here we go. Let me tell y'all, it feels like 100 years since I've been in here. But so mostly French on the show today. I'm not sure. But first I gotta figure out where the music is everywhere. Because actually it is everywhere and not exactly where I want it to be. Et salut chers auditeurs, et oui, comme vous le savez ou comme vous pouvez constater, on est vraiment sur le chef of the time, on a pris le temps vraiment de se mettre en place pour vous tranquillement et aussi de mettre en place sur l'internet parce que de temps à autre on fait un videocast, on peut dire ça, un podcast videocast, mais on fait un petit truc en ligne de temps à autre pour notre groupe de gens qui se retrouvent peut-être aux États-Unis, peut-être en Inde, peut-être quelque part dans le monde et on est là en ligne, en direct aussi, mais quand même on va commencer toujours tranquillement avec un petit morceau qui vient de la Louisiane. Je sais un artiste qui vient de la Louisiane. On va rester aujourd'hui sur l'émission avec des artistes qui viennent 90%, on va dire 98% des artistes qui vont être mis sur l'émission aujourd'hui viennent de la Nouvelle-Orléans. Il et elle. Mais on va faire une petite découverte. Le premier découverte en fait qu'on va faire, c'est en fait une vraie découverte. C'est une artiste, elle s'appelle Erica Falls. Des amis et moi, on a eu le plaisir en fait de lui rencontrer pendant un festival qui s'appelle le MNOP Festival. Je ne me rappelle même plus où c'était, mais c'était assez intéressant parce qu'on a eu la possibilité de lui rencontrer. Donc là, on va partager l'une de ses nouvelles chansons qui a sorti il y a même pas un mois, mais vraiment ça a sorti il y a, comment dire, le mois dernier, je crois. Oui, je crois que c'est exactement ça. Donc on va découvrir une nouvelle chanson de Erica Falls qui s'appelle Up. I gotta kind of pay attention because the music is kind of everywhere on the USB key, so I'm trying to figure out where everything is and how it needs to be, if the audience can actually hear what's going on. So it just seems like everything's passing a little bit, like going a little bit quicker than I wanted it to, but it's okay. So the other thing is too is like having to remember where everything starts, how it starts, where it finishes, how it finishes, and sometimes it's a lot, but it's all right. But what I can say with doing radio, one thing that we become aware of the most is actually time and how quickly time goes by. So I just put this on and I think we have maybe a minute and 25 seconds left. So with radio, everything is by the second. So even a small amount of time where no one is speaking can sound like minutes, right? Whereas with video, you can look at somebody doing something. Even if they're not speaking, it's still something that someone is doing. So it's really two different worlds. But when you bring them together, like with YouTube on Live Studio or Stream or something of that effect, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of gauge everything. I don't have to speak all the time, which is always nice. But I do have to be aware of maybe being in a shot or something of that nature. And what I need right now, since we are live in studio, this is not just, for example, me just sitting here listening to something that I recorded 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I actually have to pay attention, which is not always easy. And then, but yeah. And I'm trying to make sure that the next song that plays after this is on Canon Suit, which makes it a little bit easier for me to share music even online because it's through a different stream. It's through the radio station, so it makes it a little bit easier for me to share music and even original music. Because once the music is played here, what's going to end up happening is that wherever I put this show, for example, I can make sure that the artist gets credit for their work, right? And so they still get whatever they're going to get paid for the work that they have done. And because we know musicians, especially independent ones, aren't, maybe touring like larger or more known artists. But that's where most musicians make their music, is actually through either royalties or through touring. And I don't know if Erica Falls is on tour with Galactica, which is also a group in New Orleans. So we want to make sure that everybody gets their money, right? And since here at this particular radio station, we don't have a formatted list of who we should play or how we can play, it's really open to what the presenter wants to present to the audience. And so I like to usually take that opportunity or that freedom to actually share music that other to share music that may not get played on a more commercial type radio station. So what makes us special is that we are, so Canon Suit is considered to be what's called an associative radio station, which means, just like a barber almost, I pay for my chair, right? Or basically I pay for the time that I've taken to actually be at the station. And it's always through something like themes. So let's say I'm looking at the schedule here. So right after me, there is an artist, or actually there is a presenter who does his show based off of music from different decades. Yeah. So like he did an 80s show, music from the 70s, music from the 80s, 90s, and whatever. And then he can do also genre. Whereas Lanyap on Canal Sud is really based on music and events, or just really events that are taking place either in the southwest of France or in Louisiana. And I try to do the show as much as possible, excuse me, as much as possible in French, especially when it's dealing with issues or concerns that are taking place in the US that might need a little bit more clarification. And then it also depends upon if I have guests or not. If I don't have guests, then if I'm tired on a Thursday, you pretty much know what the language is going to be of the show, which is probably English. Or if there's going to be any speaking at all, because sometimes I have something called a musical parade, and the musical parade is just a list of music. So that's Lanyap. That's what I do here. And it's also what I kind of like about radio, which is completely different from video, is that nobody sees you, right? So you can look however you want to look, and you can share information, and you also have a choice of interaction. Who's going to interact with you, right? And I am the type of person that I like to, what can I say? My personal space is really personal. So being in a recording booth, for example, is one of the best ways that I can share things with people, and then also have people share things with me as well. There's a telephone here, there's internet, there's a lot of different things, but then I can still protect my personal space. And I think a lot of times what's really important, especially for young people, is when you're trying to forge or create a path for yourself, being able to gauge who can come with you on your path is very important, right? And then being able to protect that personal space that you have is also very important. But even as an adult, it's still just as important. So sometimes you'll see the Bo in here with me, or sometimes my kids would actually be in here as well as my special guest. But, I'll tell you the truth. Everybody who comes on the show is a special guest because they've actually taken time out of their schedules to come in, sit here with us, and really, be a part of whatever's going on in here. And I always think that's very nice of individuals to come in and take that time to do that. I really, really appreciate when people come in to do that. So that's Frankie Beverly and Mays, Golden Time of Day. This song, even though Frankie Beverly and Mays is not from Louisiana, or at least Frankie Beverly is not from Louisiana, he's from Philly. And you couldn't tell at one point anybody in Louisiana anything different. I could have sworn that this whole group was from Louisiana, but started in Philly, ended up in LA, capital L, capital A, but did one of their most famous recordings in New Orleans. It was a live recording in New Orleans, I think in 1981, that just changed everything for them. I'm not about to speak, but I'm going to put Erica Falls back on. Right. Now, the hardest thing sometimes is when doing a musical parade is actually trying to figure out which songs go where. So, in fact, every week I've actually been creating a playlist, playlist every single week for the past, let's see, I started off radio here in Toulouse in, Yeah. Um, I started radio, so my oldest son is 2020. So I think I started radio here in Toulouse in 20 years ago. And so I have about 20 years worth of playlists, just either ranging from gospel to hip hop. Less rap though, but I do have, there's a lot of music that has been purchased over the past 20 something years. Um, I started off at a radio station called Radio Présence, which was basically run by the Archdiocese of Toulouse. And there were some people that were um, leaving. And I felt as if I had been called to do something along the lines of gospel music and, promoting that. That was just like a personal calling for myself. And I'm going to have to speak in a little bit. So y'all just going to have to hold on. Oh my gosh. And then my sight is changing, y'all. Don't laugh. So we have, oops, this is an important little piece of paper here. Erica Falls. Golden. Erica Dance. So I was telling you about the Archdiocese and Radio Présence. And what was it? Playlist. So y'all are actually my guests today. So I'm going to present some new music, but I'll tell you guys more about it, like where it's from exactly. I'm only going to tell them part. I'm not going to tell them the whole story. Et voilà, chers auditeurs, ça c'était Miss Erica Falls with Dance. Et entre Erica Falls Up and Erica Falls Dance, il y avait Frankie Beverly with Maze and Golden Time of Day. Des fois, la raison pour laquelle surtout sur l'ANIAP, on coupe des fois entre les mêmes artistes, c'est parce que des fois, si on met par exemple de la musique sur certaines plateformes, on ne peut pas répéter les artistes, donc parce que ça fait en sorte que certaines plateformes, comme on était en train de juste promouvoir un seul artiste sans en fait mettre cet artiste au titre de l'émission, et pour faire en sorte que les gens ne copient pas en fait des albums. Donc tu vois, il y a une petite astuce en fait qui fait que on change des artistes au milieu des émissions. Et en parlant au sujet des artistes, en fait, on a fait une petite découverte d'un artiste qui vient de la Louisiane. Elle s'appelle Dame Sparrowhawk. Et elle fait en fait des sons. Donc ça, c'est quelque chose qui est assez rare en fait, de trouver des artistes qui viennent de la Louisiane qui fait quelque chose d'autre que la musique qu'on pense quand on dit la Louisiane. Parce que tout de suite, quand on pense Louisiane, on pense fanfare, on pense vraiment des sons soul, des sons hip-hop, des rappeurs en fait qui fait vraiment un son spécifique, par exemple de la Nouvelle-Orléans qui s'appelle en fait bounce music. Mais on pense tout ça, mais des fois il y a des artistes un peu comme Tinkin' the Bangers et celui-ci qu'on va écouter qui change le don en fait. Donc on va écouter et tester. Vous pouvez me dire oui, c'est chouette, ou c'est like, il faut revenir en arrière. Non, mais bon, bref, on va quand même partager cette son avec vous parce que c'est important en fait aussi quand même de partager ou utiliser justement les émissions comme l'ANIA, parce que l'ANIA, vous savez, ça veut dire le petit plus, de partager en fait le travail des nouveaux artistes en fait qui a besoin justement d'une plateforme pour exposer leur musique. Donc, on y va. Voilà, je partage ça avec vous. Donc, c'est Dame Sparrowhawk. Et puis, pour celui-ci, on peut passer au moins 3, 4 petits morceaux, mais on va voir, on va voir. Mais en tout cas, voici Dame Sparrowhawk avec Cat and Things et un petit bloc de musique derrière. So, what I didn't share with them was that this is the music that I kind of produced. So, that's the one thing about having your own radio program is that you can share things and you don't have to really say exactly who it is from, especially if there's a stage name. So that's something that's really cool. You don't have to expose yourself. Remember, it's all about like how much you want people to know about you, and I'm saying this while being on video and on radio at the same time. But still. And the weird thing is, I know where this one stops. Let me see if I can find drums and things. I'll be back because I got to ask somebody something. Can I see that? Leila, ne quittez pas. Leila, il y a quelqu'un Mais je ne sais pas comment transférer, mais on va. Il y a, allez, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Still here. Dis-moi, Céline, tu peux pas me rappeler plutôt dans le... Parce que là, je suis en pleine... Il y a une émission. Ouais, là, t'es au studio. Est-ce que tu peux appeler à la rédac? Tu connais pas? Ouais, c'est me semble utile. Ok. La radio, madame!
En plus, c'est d'ancienne salariée, tu sais, comme si elle ne savait pas que c'était ici le...
Rolling of the eyes. All right, here we go. So this is the second one. So, like I said, being able to provide a platform for new and upcoming artists is really important because, especially if the artist is independent and they haven't been produced by a major company like BG Jimmy, who is an independent artist that we've actually hosted on the show a couple of times. Tumi Wave as well. There's a whole, independent production scene as far as those guys are concerned, and it's really, interesting to see how things progress. And I gotta get to the other one before. Oh, okay. This was really short. I understand how musicians can really get into their own music. All right, here's that. So, it's really interesting about the music and these platforms. It's really important, like I said, to give new artists platforms in which they can share their music and share their art. And just taking the place of, not taking the place, but just trying to see what musicians actually go through to get their music out there. And it's like, it ain't no joke. Because not only are people competing with real, I don't want to say real compositions, but compositions with people that are using actual instruments, physical instruments versus what can be done with a computer. Ah, y'all, it is no joke. And so it's a lot. So I'm just listening because when you make your own stuff, it's like, oh, okay, I kind of like that. But yeah, creating platforms where people can actually share what they're doing is really important. And when creating a community of people, it's important not just as a person who's actually creating the community, but when you bring something to the table, right? Making sure or allowing the fact that people can use what you brought to the table is really important. So one of the things that I bring to any community is the fact that I have this platform at a radio station, like physically at a radio station, where there's all of the coverage. So the huge umbrella of being able to share new artists without anybody telling me what I need to do or how I need to do it. That's really a blessing, right? So, ooh, I gotta talk about this lady now. A little bit. And I'll tell you why afterwards. Another reason why. Et voilà, chers auditeurs, ça c'était Miss ou Madame Dame Sparrowhawk avec un bloc de musique de chez elle. Les différences ou la raison pour laquelle on peut faire un bloc aussi long par rapport à cet artiste, c'est parce que sur les yeux, en fait, sur certaines plateformes, il n'existe même pas encore dans le système Et les émissions radio comme l'ANIAC sur Canal Sud, ou même les radios comme Canal Sud, donnent la possibilité à des artistes indépendants de pouvoir promouvoir leur musique. Et justement, voilà, ça c'était Miss Dame Sparrowhawk et la raison pour laquelle on est libre justement de faire tout un bloc de musique aussi facile et aussi librement. Librement. Et ça, c'est le mot freedom, pour avoir la liberté de le faire. Et donc, les 4 chansons qui étaient passées, en fait, de Dame Sparrowhawk ou Madame Sparrowhawk ou Sparrowhawk, tout court. Cats and Things. Donc, je ne sais pas si vous avez remarqué qu'il y avait ronronnement, en fait, d'un petit château sur la première partie de chanson. Je l'ai discuté avec elle par rapport à ça. C'était assez marrant, en fait, de l'entendre que oui, c'était un tout petit ronronnement de château. C'était cool. Le deuxième partie, ou le deuxième chanson, c'est Drums and Things. Ça, c'était une autre chanson. Le troisième, avec 2 mouvements, c'était Who Moved Beginning. Donc, ça, c'est une première partie. Et Who Moved Beginning Part 2. Et donc, voilà. Donc là, maintenant, ce qu'on puisse faire pour ces artistes, surtout les artistes indépendants qui se retrouvent ici à Toulouse, même si c'est des gens qui viennent d'ailleurs, on peut les aider à mettre la musique au SACEM ou ils peuvent être payés. Même si c'est des centimes, ça c'est de façon que certains artistes gagnent leur argent avant qu'ils puissent faire des tournées, en fait. Donc, voilà. Donc, tout ça pour vous dire, voilà, il y a toujours des nouveaux artistes, en fait, qui sont en train de sortir. Et voilà. Et surtout de la Louisiane, même s'ils se retrouvent partout dans le monde, et voilà. Et avec les nouveaux artistes, en fait, qui commencent à... Enfin, pas qui commencent, qui nous éblouit tout le temps. On a Tank and the Bangas with There Goes the Neighborhood, parce que tu vois, Tank and the Bangas, vraiment, c'est des artistes ou c'est un groupe qui a vraiment changé le don, en fait, ou le type de musique qu'on puisse entendre à la Louisiane. Il y a le traditionnel, il y a aussi ce côté spoken word, cette partie qui fait hip-hop, cette partie qui fait rap, qui des fois ne rentre pas dans une case parce que c'est tellement ouvert et éclectique. Et voici, ça c'est, voilà, ça c'est Tank and the Bangas. Et on y va avec Tank and the Bangas and There Goes the Neighborhood. So, I did speak about Dame Sparrowhawk or Sparrowhawk as a third person, her, even though it is my stuff. I'm not trying to come out with no albums anytime soon, but the little music that I do, I would like to get a couple of little change, even if it's just a little. It'll be a little. But what I was saying this earlier is that the competition between artists who are actually using instruments like guitars, drums, like the real shebang, it's really complicated. And from what I remember, the artist strike in California was basically about artists not getting paid what they are owed because of these other groups possibly using AI or other means to be able to produce shows. And then the artists that are there in the writing rooms aren't getting paid what they deserve for their creativity, right? So let me tell you, there is a lot that you can do with AI at the moment. Even just with the little resources that we do have as far as the public, we're not even talking about what different administrations have access to, or labs, or I'm just talking about individuals like you and myself. Oh, it's pretty amazing. I mean, this is a tool that can either be, excuse me, it's like a knife, right? It's or a sword, but of course it has double edges. So in using it, it can create a sort of dependence. And on the other end, its usage could also create a sort of independence, which gives us time to do other things. But it can be wild, especially if it's not monitored properly. And I totally understand why individuals would be extremely upset about not being able to Et voilà, chers auditeurs, ça c'était Thinking the Bangers. Pour les 3 prochaines chansons en fait qui arrivent sur l'émission, j'ai découvert une artiste qui s'appelait Johnny Jenkins. Je ne sais pas comment j'ai entendu le nom, c'était cette semaine. Je crois que c'était avec le beau, je ne m'en rappelle plus. Mais de toute façon, je suis en train de chercher de la musique un peu, de préparer l'émission pour vous aujourd'hui. Et j'ai retrouvé une chanson qu'il avait fait qui s'appelle I Walk on Gilded Splinters. Et je me suis dit, mais il y a 2 autres artistes de la musique qui a fait cette chanson. C'est bizarre. Je me demande s'il y a un son différent. Et bien sûr, il y a un son complètement différent. Donc, il y a Johnny Jenkins qui vient du Mason, Georgia. Et son son est vraiment entre le blues et le funk. Vous allez entendre tout de suite. Voilà ce que je veux dire par rapport à ça. Le deuxième artiste, c'est Glenn David Andrews qui a fait la même chanson et Dr. John. Donc, c'est pas forcément Glenn David Andrews qui va arriver après Johnny Jenkins, mais je crois que ça va être Dr. John. Mais peu importe, vous allez entendre les 3 différentes sons en fait. Peut-être l'original venait de Johnny Jenkins avec son son de blues et funk. Puis Dr. John qui a le funk de la Nouvelle-Orléans avec le blues, un peu le jazz. Et puis Glenn David Andrews qui a le fanfare derrière tout. Donc vous allez voir, et plutôt pas voir, mais plutôt entendre les différences entre ces 3 artistes sur la même chanson. C'est toujours intéressant, c'est comme une vedette, et donc on voit en fait la même robe sur 3 vedettes différentes. Et on pose la question qui a porté le mieux. Mais bon, bref, là, les 3 morceaux, ils sont différents. Et bon, bref, vous allez entendre comment c'est différent. Et on peut dire, même si c'était en robe sur 3 vedettes différentes, ils ont tous porté très, très bien. Mais de toute façon, voilà, on y va avec I Walk on Gilded Splinters par Johnny Jenkins. Puis Dr. John. Et puis, si on a assez de temps, Glenn David Andrews. Another thing that's pretty cool that we can do on radio shows here that are independent is that we can actually take the time and really take time to do things. That's one. Secondly, I don't think I have enough time. Yeah, we really take the time to expose certain things. Expose in the sense that we listen to them, we can dissect them. But usually because I have a show that comes on right after mine, it's a little bit harder to do that now. What I realized was this last year was that I needed, and I didn't do it, I needed to reserve like the second hour so that, for example, when I do have guests, I'm really able to take the time to do what I need to do. I can say that before my cousin Duke, helped me set up Tavois. The time that I had in the cabin here was really used to um, was really used to just get the show together. Um, what can I say? Spend a little time with myself before going back out into the quote unquote real world. Um, because really, when you're in this space, even though you have a clock on the wall or a clock on the computer, we only have 10 minutes left. The time doesn't seem to pass the same way. So I'm gonna leave y'all for a second or two, a couple of minutes, because I have a show that comes on right after this one. I want to be able to show the three different versions of gilded splinters. So that means I'm gonna have to mix a little bit. And the rhythm of Tom Cat walks through the fire, flies. See my enemy. Walk on Pasadena. Don't tell me I don't have on here. Walk on gilded splinters. So I'm just going to use 2 minutes of this song, and maybe 2 minutes of the other song. And of course I didn't write anything down, but it's okay. So I did Erica Falls. But what's nice is that I'm able to record the shows, and then after they're recorded, this is the hard part. I gotta actually put it as a podcast onto the site for Canal Sud. Let me tell you, I need an assistant for real. I know my kids don't want to work for me. Not that I'm a hard person to work for, because I just tell them, get this done. I don't care how it gets done, just get it done. So I think I did cats, drum, who moved one, and who moved two, tank and the bangers. Alright, almost. Mix a little bit. Okay, that's good. So, because we started a little bit later today, the show, of course, is going to be shorter, and I'm going to stop it at like in the next 2 minutes or so, because I have someone right behind me. So I think this would be a good point for us to say adios. So I hope all of you have a wonderful end of the day. Tomorrow is it's Bastille Day here in France, so there's going to be a lot of activities. It's basically their 4th of July, but their liberation was from the kings and queens of France. Let me tell you. Whew, there's a whole story about that. 1789, but a very interesting story of what happened in Louisiana in 1791. As a matter of fact, in Pointe Coupee Parish, but we'll have a chance to talk about that together during another show. But I hope y'all have a wonderful end of the day, and I look forward to catching up with y'all in the very near future. Plus, I have a whole bunch of videos I need to put on here anyway. So y'all have a great day, and talk to y'all soon. And feel free, y'all can send me emails, and hopefully I'll see them. But in any case, y'all do well. Do what you want to do what you can do, and do it how you can in the best way that you can. Sorry, I'm still looking. Have a wonderful afternoon and a great start to your weekend.